evening, everybody. How's everybody doing out there in the paranormal world? We are back again for another episode of the Warren Files. Joining us tonight, we have Greg Bacon is a co-host, and Stephanie Elgady. She is a regional director. You have so many titles now. Why don't you list them?
You can just call me Stephanie, but I'm one of the general managers for the Warren Foundation and the Southeast region, assistant regional director for the Southeast.
Yep. But we all know, sorry, Bill, plug your ears, but we all know Stephanie really kind of runs that region down there. So, just kidding. And like I said, it's good to have Greg back again. Greg, I got a lot of positive feedback about you being on last week. A lot of people like you, so that's
good. Happy to hear it.
I think they're hoping to get rid of me and have you just do this, so.
I highly doubt that.
So tonight we're going to talk about ITC, and that is something that Stephanie, you're really into it, and Greg hosts a show, Minnesota Ghost Box Live. He also hosts a radio show. What's the title of that radio show that you do?
Everything I do is surrounded by Ghost Box because I'm so into it. So the radio show is Ghost Box Radio. The Sunday night show is Ghost Box Live. It's all just because I'm so into it.
Yeah. What so is it fair to say, and I don't like to throw the word expert around a lot, but I mean, would you consider yourself like an expert in this ITC world, because it is kind of a trending thing, correct?
Yeah, no, I certainly don't. I certainly see myself more as a specialist. I see, there is so much that I'm hoping to still learn and still, figure out. And, like with Stephanie on tonight, and she's an enthusiast as well, that, I'd love to, there's always new stuff for me to learn. So, but I do love it. It's been the cornerstone of my paranormal life.
Yeah.
But, and I get where you're coming from, Jeff. I can never put that E word to anything I do in the field.
I'm the same way. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Stephanie, do you guys use a lot of ITC stuff on your investigations with your team?
I would say that it's one of the most popular things that we like to do on our investigations. Mostly because it gives a little bit of validation to our session when we present that to the client. It's really good if we usually do it in front of a camera where we can record it. And when we go back and review it, you can hear the words that are coming through whatever device you're using. It comes back a lot better than when you're listening to it in real time. Sometimes you can miss it. So when we take that clip, that video, and we give it to the client, it's amazing to see their reaction, our reaction as we're watching it back. It's just a lot of fun too.
And you guys have a lot of people that are gifted on your team, correct?
Yes, we do. I would say about 70% of our team is gifted, maybe more. Cool.
Good deal. Yeah, I've seen a lot of sessions where, that produces a lot more results. And in fact, tonight we're going to talk for a little bit, but then we're actually going to conduct a live session and see if we can communicate with somebody. First of all, I've got to ask you this, Greg. And I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but I understand the basics of ITC, but what is give me ITC 101, in a brief description.
ITC stands for intertransmental communication. And basically what that is any sort of spirit communication that comes out of electronic device, that's ITC. So if, you're making, toast one day and your toaster is just like, hi, I'm your grandma, then that's ITC. I consider EVPs part of ITC. It's coming from electronic device. Something that, not everyone agrees with or we don't know is like anything that comes from a spirit box that, the response is that an EVP. I always look at responses, but I also, people call them EVPs as well. Because they're electronic voice phenomenon.
Yeah.
So, it really is anything that you can use to get electronic device to talk to you. That I consider that that's what intertransmental communication is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I'd like to urge too, I'm seeing in the comments, everybody saying hi, and I just want to say hi to everybody. And if you guys could all just click that share button, we really want to get a lot of people on here. This is we need to start getting some more people to view this. And I know a lot of people do the rewatch, but if you guys could all just click the share button, that would be awesome. Then we could get people to join in. And also, feel free to ask questions that pertain to ITC, because I've got some questions wrote down that I'd like to ask, but I'm sure you guys have some questions too. So what is the difference between, say, and I know like in SB7 Spirit Box is just one of the devices. Why are there so many other boxes out there that essentially don't they just do the same thing, or are they modified, or what's the difference?
Technically, they do the same thing. They're all about sweeping through an AM or FM radio signal to be able to sweep fast enough to build up energy to bring through spirits. But like something like this, like the SB7 here, this is mass produced. This has a lot of different like sweep rates and stuff. You might heard like a term like a custom box, which is, for example, taking, everyone has their own way of wanting to make these boxes if you're smart enough to do so. I am not smart enough to do so, but I enjoy using them. So you have people like Austin Maynard, you have Katie Stafford, you have Jay Prather, all these really smart people. Brad Webb with Crack Skull Paranormal, he's having a go at one. They all have their idea. It's basically the same, but they have their own take on it, and that's what they're trying to build, because they want to see if their theory works. You also have a version that's called like a hack. You might heard terms like shack hack, stuff like that. Those are basically maybe not always like the little like Radio Shack, radios back from the 90s that has a digital tuner, but a lot of, we have a clip that's from a hack that we'll play tonight that's from a different box. But basically all that's doing, when you have your radio going and you have it on seek and it stops at every station, that's what the seek does. But in a hack, it bypasses that stoppage of the radio, so it just continuously goes. And so that's really like the earliest. I want to know what's flying around my house right now.
I'm seeing it.
Right. This is welcome to my house.
Stephanie probably knows.
I don't know, but I feel real choked up right now. I don't know if Jeff sent me his cough.
Well, I think it's just my passionate discussion about Spirit Box. It's just choking you up. It's just really hitting you right here. I mean, I get it. And so, but the Shack Hack is able just to bypass it. It doesn't have a variable sweep rate. It doesn't have anything other than the fact that it is a radio that doesn't stop at stations. But boy, Jeff, you and I talked about this. One of the things that we're always looking for is to try to eliminate the radio altogether. But sometimes it doesn't happen. Some people may not want to believe this and may not agree with this, but the idea that that radio actually might be needed for the response that you needed to hear. And that's a hard one to swallow, because that's one of those things that people will be like, oh, you're just creating the narrative for what you need. And that's up for debate. I mean, all of this is up for debate. There isn't any strong answer to anything.
And I think a lot of scientists would say too, well, you need to put it in a Faraday box and eliminate the radio sound and blah, blah, blah. It's like, man, no, I don't think you can do that.
It's funny, because Greg Koss and I were talking, Greg being a member of the foundation, and he's a big ITC person as well. And he was talking about some people he's working with that have created a system to eliminate the white noise from the SB7. And, and we both came to the conclusion that whatever works, if you're getting spirit communication, that's great. I personally actually like the white noise, because when I hear stuff, it's over the white noise. I mean, my ears are now tuned to being able to be like, I know when something's coming. I can feel it. I can see it. I can see it in the way when I look back at the recording. You just really grow accustomed to it, and that's what I did with that.
And so, Stephanie, you analyze a lot of the audio and stuff for your team.
Yes.
This is something that I've had happen. I'm curious if both of you have had it too, but I'll start with you, Stephanie. Is that, have you ever gotten a response on a spirit box in addition to an EVP that is close by it? That's an actual EVP. You know, it's not a response coming out of the box, but it's basically saying the same thing. Have you ever come across anything like that when you do your
Oh yeah.
analysis?
Sometimes the spirit box will have a result that the camera will pick up, so you'll hear it
Right.
when you do the review, or you'll hear it on the footage, what's coming out of the spirit box, and have something else come after it or before it.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's usually either connected to the response from the spirit box, or it's the first part of the response, and then the second part comes out of the spirit box.
Yeah. Greg, I'll add this to you, you know, the same question, but in addition, have you ever had it come out as a member of your team's voice? You know, any responses duplicate voices?
So we're going to play one tonight.
Yeah,
and it says my name, and that's not from the spirit boxes, not from anybody in the room. I thought it was from somebody in the room, and when we went back and we listened to it, I asked, okay, who said that? And no one would acknowledge that. Now, listen, once again, I just did something I hate. I hate when people start a sentence with listen. But seriously, Jeff, listen. What is the thing here is, like, people do forget, right? You're in a session. I can't hold them accountable for being like, maybe someone did say my name, but I really don't think so, and I'm gonna go with what they said. But that would be the closest I've had with that.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and play that clip. Do you want to set it up?
Sure. I mean, this is at the Bliska Axe Murder House. You know, we're a place you go for, you know, fun and jollity. And, you know, the Bliska is, it's like you pay a ticket, you want to see the show. And I hate to say it that way, but that is really what Bliska has become, where it's just like, if you know the dark history of this place, you go in there, and whether you want to or not, you actually really do want to see some of that play out. And that's not the right way to go into anything, which is why we don't go there anymore. But this is one where you're going to hear, and the clips that we play, if you're playing the video as well, it does say on the bottom what we're hearing.
Yep.
Now, you can shut your eyes if you don't want to see it, you know, because we don't have all night for people to guess what it is. I'm gonna say what we believe it is. Once again, you never hang your hat on this stuff, right? As far as the responses, you try to be as open as possible with what people want to hear, even though you'd all be wrong if you don't agree with me. But the thing is, you're gonna hear something, and you're gonna hear my name, in me, Greg, and you're gonna hear me ask, did somebody say my name? You're gonna hear from the spirit box. So that's outside the spirit box. Then I talk. Then in the spirit box, you're gonna hear, I did. And then I said, you know my name. What is your name? And we get a response.
Yep. And I'm going to go ahead and play that clip.
Greg? What? You hear my name? You said my name. What is your name?
Now, that's a freaking final response there.
Yeah. Did he say his name was Ed?
No, it said Satan.
Oh,
It's actually Ed Satan, he's a well-known citizen in Bliska who ran for Congress. Could we play it one more time, Jeff?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Ed Satan, I believe, is Satan's younger brother.
Yeah.
Greg? What? You hear my name? You said my name. What is your name?
I heard it that time.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't help that StreamYard does this thing now, because I cut my clips really close for presentation, that they do this, like, dissolve back into us for some reason. So it's not a hard cut anymore.
Yeah.
And you know, you both know very well that we don't for a second believe it was Satan.
No. No.
It's just that's just it, but once again, we bought a ticket. We want to see the show, I guess, and that's what Liska did, unfortunately. And it was not a great trip. It wasn't a good investigation at all.
You actually have another clip from there that I want to play as well. And when you first sent it to me, I can hear it, but it didn't make sense until you told me where it was from, because now it makes total sense. So this is also from the Villisca axe murder house.
We're still looking for a name. Give us a name. 6 people killed. That's what this just said.
What? 6 people killed?
Killed.
So yeah, that's, like I said, it didn't, when you put context around it, that is a pretty good clip.
But what's funny about that? Well, nothing's funny about it, but I don't know if you all follow that case like that story as close as I have, but 6 people weren't killed there. 8 were.
Oh.
So why the discrepancy? It's and for 1 minute, not for a minute, I don't think that's what I believe it says. When you listen to it with headphones, it says it over and over and over and over again.
I thought I heard it again, like at the very end.
Mm-hmm. It almost like it starts to kind of decelerate into itself in a sense. It's really an odd thing. But there's so many theories about what actually happened the night of the murders and who was involved, that I wonder if that spirit box response is actually a clue to something that we didn't know, instead of 8 to 6. I don't know.
Or was, the person responding the 6th person?
Yeah. Or just, who, that's just it. It could be anything. I could keep saying more things of what I think it is, but we just don't know. But yeah, isn't it? I think it's very fascinating.
Yeah. Yep. Stephanie, what kind of boxes do you guys use when you do this? Just a straight up SB7 spirit box?
Well,
or do you guys have
I'm loyal to my SB7. I did buy the attachment that Gary Golka makes for the SB7 to kind of weed out the white noise in the background, but I'm not a big fan of it. It just took away from the whole experience for me, so I continue to use it as is, as a standalone device. We also will take our SB7 and hook it up to a device Philip made. It's called the Portal, and it's pretty much just a speaker that you attach the SB7 to. It's got a couple of amps and some wires here and there, and it can also kind of drown out that static white noise that you hear when it sweeps. And it also kind of amplifies words that come through, so you can hear them a little bit louder. I like to use that one. Sometimes it's a little fickle. You got to mess with the knobs and stuff, and if I touch it, forget about it. You'll never get it the same way again. So I just prefer to use my spirit box. That's my go-to. It's easier for me to use. I don't have to learn how to move knobs and things like that.
That's like my guitar amplifier. Like, don't touch my knobs.
Like, don't let me near
it. Months to get those settings how we wanted them. But that brings another question. So what is the purpose of people making modifications to them? Because I know a lot of them sound like they have reverb added to them, or delay, or different effects and things like that. What is the purpose for adding those effects?
I think first and foremost, because most people go with the SB7, to start with at very least. That I think a lot of people who are there's a lot more people than I think I realize that hate the white noise. Yeah. So they're trying to figure out how do we eliminate the white noise. And I do personally think it also still comes down to that you got a lot of creative people out there who are just like, they know how to do electronics work and stuff. And anyone who knows how to do anything is going to look at something that they're interested in and be like, I think I could do better than that. Yeah. And I think that that's a big part of why you get so many people now doing customs. And, the thing is too, that, I have about 40 boxes, and I have, some are in old time radios, some are just in 3D 3D. It's all 3D. It's a printer, the 3D printer boxes. And, so there's so many different ways that people go about and do them. And, it's become now for me, it's not even like some of these I don't even necessarily want to use. I just like how they look. They're expensive sometimes, but I like how they look, and I love the creativity of people. And sometimes some are, working pretty well for me too.
Mm-hmm. So basically these ITC boxes are like guitars. Like people ask me all the time, why do you need 10 guitars? Well, they're all different. They all have a different purpose. They all have a different sound. I use each one in different circumstances. So that does make sense to me. There's
a theory too that if you have a device that sends out certain frequencies, that you will somehow get a response from a higher dimension. Because remember, ITC isn't just for communicating with non-physical forms; it's also interdimensional forms. I don't personally know a whole lot about that part. I have only ever communicated with the spirit world, but there are people out there that will try to search for a technician, somebody in a higher
guilty
in a higher realm. To make contact with them.
Now, and I was going to ask that at some point tonight. If you ever feel that you've caught aliens or things like that.
Once again, I feel like I have to say this only for my own sanity. There is no proof that this is what happened, but we've done it, and we did one about a month and a half ago, and I had people like tonight watching. And we started to get my questioning was a little bit more, not aggressive, but more to the point about alien abductions and stuff. And we started to get noises through the box and people coming through the box that we've never heard before, different types of voices, different types of responses. And one of them I remember was, "We're coming." And I said, because we all heard it, I'm like, "Are you coming? Are you saying you're coming to the earth, or are you coming for me?" And it said, the response was, "For you." And so that night, and as somebody who can feel energy, I was not alone that night. I really felt like, and I believe that you don't need a flying saucer to land in your front yard for aliens to come into your house. And the headache started. About 3 other people were affected that night who were watching. My phone died. Like it died completely. It wasn't like the lights now just died. And so this is quite the place.
I think they just validated you, Greg.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly. And then the nosebleed started.
Ooh.
And I don't get them, and that lasted for about 2 days. And they weren't like, "Oh, I got a nosebleed." It was like, whoa, it was a gusher. And so we're going to try at some point a CE5, which is basically taking tones and doing other things, but not in the house, but going out to a field. And we're going to try to do it during a Ghost Box Live where we have another person. I think Brad is going to try to do it in, I think he's in Illinois. And we're going to try to do it at the same time and see what we can do, but not by ourselves. We need to have people with us. You can't do it by yourself. And we're going to see what happens at that point,
Because that's kind of a meditative thing as well, part of that CE5. Correct?
Absolutely.
It's like I don't want to say ritual, but it's not just going out and asking questions and playing stuff. It's there's a lot more to it than. Right.
Now to Stephanie's point, and I don't do this myself, and I do know a lot of people who do it, the technicians. I've more and more I've been wondering, is that something I've been missing out on? Do I need to do it? And I have, and I'm going to say something very controversial here because people's religion is their own thing, and everyone has their own idea of what it is, and mine doesn't mean it's yours and everything. But on Easter last year, I did a session, and I wanted to reach out to Mother Mary, and I'm Catholic, so reached out to what I believe in my own abilities to how I link myself to the people I want to talk to for them to come through Spirit Box. And I just said, I remember starting it off and I said, Mother Mary, are you here? And we get this woman voice who comes through and she goes, I'm here. And once again, you can't say, oh my gosh, we got Mary, but it's like suddenly, and I kid you not, the rest of the night, almost every time that something came through the Spirit Box, it was someone saying, we love you. We love you. I love you. I mean, it was utterly beautiful. I remember a pink glow in the room, and it must have been like the sunset or something, but it was like, wait a minute, it can't be. We did it after 10 p.m. at night. Yeah. You know, it was transgentle. It was just, it moved us in a way that we never had before. And it's like, well, this is cool. This is neat. And I felt like it didn't have to be the Mary that I associated with my religion. It could be anybody for anybody, right, to give them calm and happiness.
Stephanie, have you ever had any like really unusual sessions like that stick out in your head? Some of these Spirit Box sessions?
Oh, let me see. Well, there is one, and it was with my Georgia group, not with the foundation, but we were doing a client investigation, and we were in the upstairs part of the house, and it was a very profound moment for us. Now, this is more on the spiritual side too, as well. There was a gentleman there who had been killed in a war overseas, and I don't even know how he got over here, but he needed help crossing over, and pulled out the Spirit Box. We're all sitting around it. We're trying to talk to him. Now, Philip calls upon Paul, and Paul is an angel that we will, when we're in a group call, Philip will call on his own to come down and assist spirits in crossing over. And, you know, we're asking questions, you know, look for Paul. He's going to help you. You know, you get more than one spirit, and you can hear them say, thank you. We love you. And of course, they always say Philip. You know, everywhere we go, that's the first thing they say is Philip. Thank you, Philip. But to hear them say thank you, and then to hear another spirit voice come through and say they're gone, it's just very profound and beautiful. Yeah. And it brings me to tears every single time, because I wish I can hear it. I wish I could witness it.
Yeah.
You know, as it's taken place on that other plane, you know, wherever it may be. That to me was, we left that place so ecstatic and so excited that we had done something to help somebody, and then to hear the thank yous and I love yous. It's a very nice thing. It really is. It's beautiful.
We do on the Sunday night Facebook Live. We do at the end. I'll do a crossing over for those who want to do it, and it's definitely the same thing. You know, the responses, even to like, who here would like to cross over? Is anyone ready to cross over? And you get on the Spirit Box, you get crossover. I'm ready. I mean, crossover is not going to be on the radio. I'm sorry, it's not a word on that someone's going to be, maybe, but I doubt it. And to your point. Do you see it? Yes, I see it. Do you see the light? The light. Have you crossed over? We've crossed. Yes, thank you. You know, thank you. You know, friendship. You know, all those words. And you're right. There isn't anything. I mean, for those, you know, this is not what the foundation's about. So obviously, everyone's going to agree with us on this. But for those who go to these to be in the paranormal because they want to go to spooky locations and be scared, I said, go enjoy yourself. I want to do crossovers. I want to do stuff where you're a helping spirit, and that's a game changer for me.
Before we get to a question in the comments, doesn't that annoy both of you to, you know, some of these locations, they flat out tell you do not cross anybody over while you're here. You know what I mean? They get.
If you want to see a whole level of lividness, yes.
I think you just invented a word.
Because you don't own the spirit.
Right.
That's slavery.
You can't own a spirit. If they want to be free and they're asking me or someone on my team for help, we are going to help them.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. I mean, I got into a fight close at point. She had a friend who ran a haunted location. She's like, well, it's taking money away if you're taking away spirit. It's like, you don't understand then how spirit works, because if you cross someone over, first of all, it doesn't mean they can't come back.
Exactly.
And secondly, the idea of, like, to your point, Jeff, it's no better than slavery.
Right.
You know, if you're going to keep someone behind,
Right.
it's gross. And it's like, you know what, then I just won't go. I won't anything else. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is. I mean, you don't want to get rid of the money machine, and you're doing it at somebody else's expense, and that's
To me.
I understand that some places do it to help with maintaining the grounds. Some of these historical places will do it to keep revenue in, to keep the place, looking beautiful, and electricity on. And you can't cross over every single spirit at that location. Not every spirit's going to come to you and say, cross me over. Some do want to stay. But for the ones that are in torment and ask you for help, I'm going to help them, because I only need that spirit's permission. I don't need anybody else's.
Yep.
And so, like I said, this is going back to kind of what we were talking about earlier. This is more of a techie question, but somebody in the comments wants to know, what is the best number to have it set onto sweep? Like, what are your sweep preferences? My personal ones, I like to use the AM band as fast backwards as it will go. That's my personal preference, because the chances of getting, and we've got more examples to play, but like 2 or 3 words together, sweeping super fast on AM band backwards are slim to none, I would think.
I agree. I like the backward sweep more than the forward sweep, only because I feel like it gives me more validity with the results.
Yep.
Because if you're sweeping backwards and you hear a word as you would in normal speech, I think that's great. A speed for me, I like 150. I just I chose that number, and I like to stay consistent. So I stick with it.
Yeah, I all the stuff that you're going to play for me tonight are different sweep rates. I mean, it really depends on, like, I do believe if you're not getting anything, that you should try certain things. I mean, I also do a backwards FM sweep. I go between 200, 150. But, I think the Vliska ones are all AM, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And those were backward sweeps as well. And I think for me, it's a matter, because sometimes it's just, and it's a tough one to go, because I always say, really, to start getting responses through Spirit Box, I think you got to give it about 15 minutes before you really start getting some stuff. But at the same time, I might be a little bit like, well, I feel like I'm not getting anything here. I feel it, here. I'm going to try to kind of, switch it up a little bit, which is actually more for me, I think, than spirits, because, like you, Stephanie, I'm pretty consistent generally myself.
Have you ever gotten into sessions where you're like, whatever's starting to come out is not good, and shut it down?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah. You'll hear curse words, things that aren't so nice.
Yep.
And now, I don't know if you do this, Greg, but when we start a Spirit Box session, we always have an opening statement that sets our intention of who we want to speak with. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you always got that one jerk that shows up and just wants to call you up. And we usually say, get out. We don't want to talk to you. We're only here to speak with those who have the highest and purest intentions. Sometimes they leave, sometimes they don't. But if they're getting really nasty, we just close it down.
That's exactly what I do as well. And to your point too, everything I do starts with a statement of intent. And like Sunday nights, we try to reach out to people's loved ones, and so we'll throw it out there but only of love and light. So if, like, Uncle George was a jerk, we don't want him. I mean, it's literally like we truly want to keep the vibration high on everything we do, and we certainly have had. Where they come in and you get F, like, and you're like, done. And normally I'll do a close down, like, we're going to shut this down 5, 4, 3. But, to me, that's powerful just to be able to shut them down, like, you're done. And it's just like that.
Well, and you've done too in some of your episodes, you've tried to talk to historical figures. And I want to play a clip from one of your shows, and you guys were you guys were talking to, is it Mary Todd Lincoln, Lincoln's wife?
It's Mary Todd Lincoln. We believe it is. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And she was big time into seances and things like that, if I remember correctly. But
Yeah, she
let's
was.
go ahead and play this clip because you were trying to reach out to her, I believe, in this particular episode.
Mrs. Lincoln, you spent your entire life reaching out to spirits. Do you talk to other people? Do you talk to other people as a spirit, to other living people?
Talk about what?
Talk about what?
That's a pretty good one, I think.
What the whole, if I can backtrack a little bit about that, because normally I can ask a question, and you could hear I couldn't ask a question there because we got what we believe was Abraham Lincoln right before that. And I
was going to ask you, there's another voice on there, right?
That's who that is who we identify as Abraham Lincoln, but we got him before that too.
Oh, okay. Well, let's play that one more time. And, everybody listen to the beginning. You didn't write the words underneath it on this part, but no. There is another voice that comes through before what was marked.
Mrs. Lincoln, you spent your entire life reaching out to spirits. Do you talk to other people? Do you talk to other people as a spirit, to other living people?
Talk about what?
Talk about what?
Man, it would be really cool if we had, granted they didn't have recorders back then, but if we had something to try and match that voice with.
Absolutely.
That would be phenomenal.
Someone said in the comments, like, well, play it against one of Lincoln's speeches. I'm like, funny.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why Mary Todd Lincoln I think her response is exasperation, because all I wanted to ask was, Mrs. Lincoln, when you were living, you spoke to the dead. Now that you're dead, you speak to the living. But I was the comments were going crazy when we got what we thought was Lincoln's voice to begin with, that I got a little stage struck. I was a little starstruck. I was like, what is this them? And well, and I had before the session even started, before I started the live, I used my flashlights and I asked President Lincoln, may I talk to you tonight? I want to show you a photograph. I want to know if this is you. And the flashlight went on and indicated yes. I'm like, can you shut off the flashlight? And it shut off. And I said, also, may I have permission to speak to Mary Todd Lincoln tonight? And it went on and it went off. And I got them both, I think. Incredible.
Yeah. This is actually a good question, too, that goes along with this. Is do you guys ever use crystals in conjunction with the spirit boxes?
I don't, no.
Okay. Greg?
Not really either. I mean, we have all of our stuff out, but I mean, I guess what I do, and I think what we all do is that we do our protection at the start, and I kind of just, for myself, just kind of let that run through, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Stephanie, did you just say that line for an energy draw? I mean,
yes, I said it as I read it. Sorry, I shouldn't have whispered it. That's like number one rule: don't whisper.
No, but you were frozen, and I was like, somebody's like saying that line.
No, but for an energy draw, we have a guy on our team that likes to build things. So we will run a Jacob's ladder beforehand. We'll run an ion generator that'll put out positive ions. I can't remember this other thing that he just made, but he walked around with it and he was winding it, and it puts out static electricity into
I think I've seen that,
the air. Yep. And so we use things like that to kind of raise the energy so that spirits can pull from, so that we can get more responses from them. So we do things like that, not necessarily crystals.
Yeah. Yep.
I ask them to use the energy of my cat Linus. No, I don't do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, no, and certainly we never ask anyone, especially when people are like, oh, you can use my energy. It's like, don't do that. That's not yours to give like that.
That's another, sorry.
Go ahead.
That brings up another point. So, because I do want to get into doing a live session here pretty soon, but we do have to go over this because this is important. Because, in the foundation, we're all about residential investigations. And a lot of this ITC stuff is experimental. questionable, things like that. So what are your ethics as far as what you would present to a client from something that comes from a spirit box?
Do you want me to go
I'll
first?
let you go first.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I guess for me, it really comes down to, is this does it, first of all, is it an intelligent response to a question we're asking? Is it relevant to the case that we're on? If say that we believe President Lincoln came through again, like, why would we present that? It has no bearing on anything.
Yeah.
I would certainly also, if it was something that was dark sounding and nasty, we would probably jettison it completely, because it's not, especially if it doesn't match anything else in the investigation. It's just like, oh yeah, no, things are great, but oh, by the way, Satan's name came through.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. But
younger brother Ed.
but it has to be clear. You have to run these recordings amongst everybody in your team, not telling them what you heard. And if they can hear what you're hearing, then it's a better chance to want to present it. But there's some people out there who are really in the ITC, and they're like, sometimes you need to, speed up a clip or slow it down or run it backwards. And I really don't believe that. My rule of thumb is, if I hear something that sounds like it could be interesting, if I can't get it in 3 sweeps of going back and doing it 3 times, I'm throwing it out.
Yeah.
Because first of all, it's time consuming anyway. So those are kind of my criteria for allowing it in. I love using it, but there has to be a time that you have to be realistic about, are we actually getting anything? And, and is it intelligent, and is it relevant to the case?
Mm-hmm. Stephanie, what about your
I agree with everything, and I'd like to add on to that. When we present EVP evidence in the form of our clips, it could be audio or video, we will not tell them what we think we're hearing. We will give them, we'll say, here's a set of 10 EVPs, listen to them and tell us what you think they are. Because if we don't want to influence the client, we only use class A EVPs and a high class B, because they are very subjective. We want to take away some of that subjectivity and only use the ones that are absolutely clear and that everybody could make them out, no matter how many people listen to them. But I have to agree, and some people will, they're not ethical like Greg and I are, but, so if they get something that's like, get out, I mean, that's what they're given to the client. And I think that's just wrong. I mean, we don't want them to move. We want them to be safe. And the reality is, when you are doing ITC or spirit box or any form of spirit communication, you're not 100% sure who you are speaking to. Okay.
Yep.
You could be asking to speak to Aunt Alice, and you might get somebody there pretending to be Aunt Alice. And so they could be not nice. They could be nice. You just don't know.
Yep.
So, we don't present that type of evidence to a client, because we don't want them to have nightmares.
Yeah.
And, with, energy is all around us. It's not always positive. It's not always negative. It's a mixture of energy going around.
Yep.
So we do pick and choose the best EVPs, the ones that are relevant to the case or the client, and everything else is just stuff coming through, trying to get your attention, trying to get you to talk to them. But, we just usually shut them out.
Mm-hmm. So, another ethical question on this, and I've heard people say this a lot of times, and I don't think it applies just to ITC, but a lot of people will say that this is very, very similar, if not the same thing, as using a Ouija board. What do you guys think about that? I have some thoughts on that one. My personal thoughts are, it's very, very similar, but in a Ouija board, you're asking it to use your energy to move the planchette. So I guess, if anything, it's kind of a separation between the two, but in a way, it is kind of, any communication, I feel, is almost kind of like playing with a Ouija board. And we're all afraid of Ouija. Well, not all, but
it's because it starts with the intent. If your intent is to communicate with spirit, any device will do, really. I could use my telephone. telephone. It's like we're 1995 again. My cell phone, computer.
Yeah.
You can use pretty much any electronic device that can put out a sound. I know back in the day they used telephones connected to computers.
Mhm.
I mean, that could have been a Ouija board.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I don't think the items themselves are dangerous because I think it starts with the person and what their intent is. If their intent is to do something that's not nice or speak to a spirit that's not nice, an activity that's not nice, it's not the actual item, it's the person and their intent.
Yep.
Yeah, I certainly would agree with that. And you know, I know that there's people out there who will be like, Ouija board, I don't even want to look at them, want to see them.
Yep.
You know, I don't necessarily agree with that 100%, but I also agree with the idea of like, I'm not going to use anything that's going to make someone uncomfortable. But like,
Yeah.
I was at the bird cage, and I pulled out my Ouija board. No, I'm just kidding. But I was going to do my, they were doing a haunted night there in Tombstone. I was going to use my spirit box. They said to me, we don't allow spirit boxes. They
Oh,
see
really?
it, they saw it exactly the same as a Ouija board. So, you know, and I personally don't, but
Yeah.
you know, because I agree. Anytime you're asking spirit to talk to us, you know, you're asking spirit to come. So, but my friend Shar, who is an excellent paranormal investigator and medium, you know, she said, because we teach a class together, and she said why she doesn't like Ouija boards. She said that's in class this week is because that's allowing something else to have control of her by moving the planchette. You know, using energy. It's like that's very true. That is very
Yeah.
true. You know, that is something to consider, I think.
Yep. That's kind of what I meant in the fact that you're asking
Absolutely.
it to use your energy.
Yeah.
It to move the planchette like through you. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I think. And in fact, your friend Shar, we'll have to get it on the show sometime. Her clip that was from Viscula Axe House as well, wasn't it? Or was it?
Well, I mean, we did, yeah, because I think you watched that whole.
It was that storm.
Yeah, that whole storm that
Yeah.
blew apart of
Yep.
the house while her and her
Yeah.
her team were in it.
Yep.
So yeah,
But that was from there, correct?
that is absolutely from there. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, cool.
From
So
2011.
I'd probably say let's go ahead and start a live session here in a few minutes.
Okay.
And do you need time to set up, or do you want me to play a clip while you get stuff out?
No, I think what we want to do when you're ready, if we want to play a clip or something, but when you're ready, let's do some protection first.
Yep.
And
I was gonna
then
say we're definitely gonna do that.
Yep, and then we could do so now. And the way I'm doing it is the way I do it. That's why I don't have my mic tonight, because I'm doing it exactly the way I would do it on my Tuesday and Sunday shows.
Yeah.
So we'll hopefully that works. Keep in mind, I can't hear you guys.
No, that's fine.
So
I'll wave my hand if I really need you to come in for a second.
Or you can also the private chat. And then, folks, I'm going to ask you all if you're hearing anything, put it in the comments.
Yep.
That's I'm going to ask a question too. I'll put it in the chat. I'm glad you said that because.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead. You guys, I know you do the protection stuff on your show, so let's just go ahead and conduct it like one of your shows, I guess. At this
okay. And protection it's different for everybody. So much so that he left. It's
I didn't mean to. I meant to do
protection right there. You just leave. I mean,
yeah.
Gosh, expect a little bit more out of you than that.
I'm doing my Native American protection.
So I don't have a spray bottle at the moment. So I have Florida water that I start with for myself. And then what I ask everyone to do, plant your feet on the floor and just calm yourself, relax yourself, make sure that, if you have a stressful day or something, I know it's hard, but try to move that away, try to release that energy, because what we're going to do tonight is we're going to try to reach out to spirit in a fun way. We're going to reach out to only spirits of love and light, love and above. We're looking for that high vibration. If you want a family member to come through tonight, put that intention out there right now. Okay. Just do what you can. that we need to think about calm right now. So it starts at your heart chakra, and imagine, just think of all your loved ones that have passed, that are there for you, your spirit guides. They may be your loved ones. Think of whoever has brought positivity, love, support in your life, and imagine them in your heart right now. Imagine as a white light, and that white light is going to grow, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just growing. And what's going to happen with that light is that it's actually going to be a shield for you, and it's going to completely cover you. Now, at this point, if you're feeling any tingling or anything, it is quite normal. And if you're not feeling anything, don't worry, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just that everyone expects it, experiences it differently. At this point, imagine that you have all of this white light completely covering you, that you are safe, that you are in a good place. And then what I like to do myself is I like to take that energy and I like to push it to around my house, because I have other people in my house. I have pets in my house, and I want to share my protection with everybody in here. And from that point, once again, my intention tonight is to reach out to spirit of love and light, love and above, perhaps your relatives, if you want to ask for someone to come through. And we're going to have a good night. We're going to have a positive night. Okay. And that's what I do.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Now, I've never used one of these before, so we'll find out. No, I'm just kidding.
So we've just been placed in the hands of a rank amateur.
A rank amateur, that's what it is. So my question to you is, Jeff, how long do I have?
Is 20 minutes too short?
Let's just start with it and see. Let's
Okay.
see if we're getting anything. I don't know why Stephanie turned blurry. There we go.
It happens.
It happens. I hear you. I think I'm going to switch batteries on here real fast. These are looking pretty nasty.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to play a clip of one of the other examples that you sent me, and I'll set it up because you told me this story. So your partner, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys were on an investigation, and your roommate started to have some problems, so he went outside. But
we were over at the Morris Jamel mansion, and we weren't even there to investigate, but we wanted to do so because we heard about it. We asked them, can we run some equipment here during the day when they had tours, and they were super nice about it. But Robert was affected by whatever was, we could have been even Liza Jamel, who is the woman who owned the house. And so what ends up happening is that he's kind of almost taken over upstairs. He can't move. I come over to see how he's doing, and that's what broke it. He had some other weird things happen, but we went outside, and he's walking around the perimeter of it, and we get this, when I'm doing a spirit box session by myself over there, and he's walking far away, we get this spirit box response.
Yeah, it's pretty clear.
I don't think they liked him.
No.
For whatever reason. And, Stephanie, you hear Philip's name all the time in the spirit box. I always hear Robert's name. Robert's name always comes through. And I don't think it's Robert downstairs. He lives downstairs. Him and I have been good friends for many, many years. I think there's something else. Somebody else named Robert that's been a part of my life for a very long time.
I'm reading the questions that we're supposed to. Okay.
Yeah, I put a couple in there.
Yeah, I'm looking at those. Yeah, go ahead, Greg. If you're ready to start, if you've changed your batteries, let's
see what happens. All right. As we always say, folks, no guarantee of responses.
Right.
So,
yes.
Here we go. Now I'm going to go slower than you all normally do. I'm going to do 200. I'm going to do FM back per 200. This is what I do generally on the nights that I do these.
So Stephanie placed
We can always
questions in
switch
the
it up.
private chat for you to ask you about.
My name is Greg, and I have Stephanie and Jeff with me. Hoping to hear from somebody tonight. We're hoping to hear from you. There we go. Female voice that came through. I talked over her, and I'm sorry for. And yes, watch the captions also. Same female voice just came through. What is your name? Are you standing behind me right now? Wish that was clear. Turn this up. Sorry, I'm just turning it up. I'm looking for any relatives that might be here with us tonight. Anyone that wants to come through? Anyone wants to say hello? I'm sure.
Yeah.
What are you sure of? Or is it oh sure? Are you related to one of us? We need.
Go back to this.
Does that make sense to anyone? Anyone want to go back east? It doesn't to me. I know it's hard, but can you please try to speak clear? Who are you here for? Can I get a name, please? If you're here for Jeff, can you tell us? I miss you. I miss you. Okay. I miss you again. You know, I don't want to ask who you're missing because it could be for all of us. We all have loved ones who have left. But are you here for someone specifically? Physically. You're here for someone specifically, not physically. Is anyone here for Stephanie? I miss you. Wow. That's it. Anyone here for Stephanie, please? Could you let me know, please?
me 1 second. All right. I'm asking a question. I'm asking a question on behalf of Michelle, who is watching. Who always said big smile to her? Can we get a name, please? This quiet female voice that came through. Did you say it to her? What's your name, please? Are you related to her? Could I get any relatives that are associated with any of us that are watching? Can you come through, please? It's very funny. Is there a way that you could speak up, talk louder, please? Yeah? Can you do it? Why not? You didn't sound like why not? Of course I was talking over it. I'm going to be honest. I personally did not hear brother. I always say if you hear it and it resonates, that's good. But I personally, myself, did not hear brother. I don't know about Stephanie or Jeff. Once again, doesn't mean it didn't happen if that's what you're looking for, but I did not hear it.
Yeah, I'm bad at picking up these responses. I can never hear what they say.
Go back and watch the replay, Michelle.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
There was one.
Let's see. Is there a woman behind me, standing right behind me right now? Yeah. Who is she? Can you make that doll behind me fall? Yeah, I'm sorry I'm testing you. I'm a believer. A believer of the living?
Yeah.
I am curious to know who the person was that said to us, I miss you. I would love to know that, please. Are you still here? Some said an awful lot. let's hang on to this maybe another 10 minutes and see what we come up with. Is that okay with both of you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm hearing a lot of stuff. I'm just not hearing it clear. I will be right back.
Right. Now, Stephanie, Jeff, and myself are part of a foundation to speak to spirit. Who are the one who started the foundation? What is the namesake, please? Are you interested in talking with us at all tonight? Even just a yes or no would be just. Even a yes or no that I don't talk over you would be fine. Does anybody need help? Does anyone listening need help? Why don't we speed up the sleep rate?
Did it say anything while I was out?
Said, where's Jeff?
It probably did.
Is it easy for you to come to talk to us now? You know Stephanie? Do you know Jeff? Do you know Jeff? Do you know me at all?
Let's see.
I can't really hear on my end.
What's that?
So I can't really hear anything clear or loud on my end. I hear sounds, but I can't make them out.
Sometimes when we're doing it through Facebook, the white noise goes away quite a bit, but then the responses are more accentuated. But you have to have responses.
Because Facebook
Which we're not
tweets
getting
the
a lot
audio.
I thought someone just said that's true when I said we're not getting a lot of responses. You know, if we don't hear anyone, I'm going to shut this down because I feel like that we're not getting a whole lot. Can you let me know who you are, please? I feel like you don't want to play along tonight.
Camera shot.
Is that better? Yeah. Can you give us one thing that everyone so they know that this actually works? And if you're shy, there's no need to be. You're amongst friends. We just want to hear your voice. We just want you to know that you're not forgotten. If you need help, we can help you. If you just want to say hi. That's all we want. Just to hear your voice. That's it. That's radio. That's radio. It called itself what it is. And if you don't want to talk, you don't have to. We're not trying to prove anything. We want to hear your voice. Okay? All right. Yeah, absolutely. Stephanie, do you want to ask some questions?
Sure. Let's see. What did Jeff tell me his code word was? What's Jeff's code word?
Do you know that she's trying to ask you a question? I do.
Can you say my code word?
Not Barracuda?
That's not my code word, but that's somebody
That's
else's
not his
foundation's
code
code word. In all honesty, though, when you first asked it, I think it might have said it. Like, I want to re-listen to it later.
I think so too.
I think it said it right away.
I'd ask you what my code word is, but I don't have one.
I want to ask it. Do you know who we are referring to when we say anaconda? Who is the anaconda?
It said Butch. Yeah, that's not the right answer.
Do you all have any other questions, or should I shut her down?
Do a couple more.
Shut her down?
No, let's do a couple more.
All right. We thank you very much for talking with us. I'm going to shut down this session in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You ever catch them counting backwards with you?
I also catch, like, a lot of times when you don't, like, you have sessions like this where not a lot of happens, and all of a sudden 5, 4, 3, 2, hello. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, you want to talk. Before we go any further, can we close the session? I just want to make sure that everybody knows that all spirits know that this session has ended. You are not allowed to communicate or reach out or talk to anybody who has taken part in this unless you know them, unless that they are giving you permission. Otherwise, you are not allowed to do this. The session is completely closed.
Bye-bye.
Perfect. No, that's just like, you know, paranormal investigations too. You don't always, you know, some days they're blah 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 blah. The other day they're nothing. You know. we've all sat in a dark room for 6 hours at a time and had absolutely nothing happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I did get, I don't know if you heard about it, that I keep going on about it, the I miss you. That was, and I
Yeah.
heard it twice, and that actually really, it's like, and I don't know if I don't know if that's something that had to do with me or something, because it just really hit me when I heard that. I don't know if anyone else had that, or,
That was
Well,
in a female voice?
this wasn't a male voice. This
Okay.
first, the one he's like, I miss you. I miss you too.
It wasn't directed at me because nobody likes me. So
No,
I don't.
that's not me either.
Now I mean, that's cool to do. And you do this on Mondays or wait, no, what nights of the week do you do this?
I do them Sunday nights and Tuesday nights, even though I haven't done it in a little while, because, well, you all know it takes so much energy.
Yep.
And I do them at 10 p.m. Central Time, and at the beginning of the day, I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
it's the same day as the radio show and everything else, and then by like 7 p.m., I'm just like,
Yeah.
Don't have the energy for it.
Don't have the energy. But then when I do it, it's like I don't want to be anywhere else. It's just like,
Yeah.
my God, this is so amazing.
Yeah. This sounds stupid, but it's kind of similar. So like, I really love, editing videos and making videos. It's once I get started, I'm good. It's the getting to where you've actually, okay, you're in the program and you're pulling stuff out. It's that getting started that, and I'm the same way. I have all this intention. Oh, I can't wait to get home. I'm going to bust this out. I'm going to do this, that. You get home and it's like, oh, crap, I'm tired. But if you actually just get started and get into it, it is for me, it's stress relieving because, Greg, you edit videos too. You cannot think of anything else except what you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
That you're not going to get anything done if you're thinking about what happened at 1:00 this afternoon with your plumbing leak or whatever. You have to focus on what you're doing, so it's very stress relieving for me.
Absolutely. And also because I work in the industry where everyone's looking at commenting on editing videos and stuff, and it's like, it's kind of like a point that I can push at whatever and be like, the good news is this is my video. It can look exactly how I want to. If it looks like crap, that's okay, because it's my video.
Yeah.
No one's telling me to move something a frame over or something.
Yeah. Yep. So, well, I think I think tonight I learned a lot more about ITC. Like I said, I guess I always thought there was something more to ITC than just a spirit box. Rather than a spirit box is ITC. It's because, like I said, and one thing I've noticed on, especially like on that show Portals to Hell, whatever that box is that Katrina uses, why is that so much noisier than like when you and I do a session? Like, that thing seems like it talks every 5 seconds.
It does. I mean, a lot of it's also based on echo and reverb,
Okay.
And those are portals. And the thing is I don't think we could say that ITC is only about spirit box. I mean, that's one of a lot of things. But what we can talk about too is like some of like the apps, and like the Echo Box is using echo technology to help try to bring forth spirit communication. There's no radio involved. And I don't think there isn't any radio involved with Portal, like the stuff that Katrina uses as well. That is going off of a very different technology altogether, but it's still ITC.
What's it going off of? Is it trying to go off of frequencies or EMF or what?
I am not 100% certain because I don't have one, but there is a lot of reverb, but it's not like going through, to my knowledge, it's not going strictly through a radio frequency. And I don't know, Stephanie, if you have a better idea on.
No, that I'm not familiar with that one. I try to stay kind of low key with my equipment. I've got my digital recorder, my spirit box. Those are pretty much my two go-tos.
Yeah.
ITC device is anything that will give you a two-way communication in real time. So It doesn't have to be a spirit box.
Right.
I'm sure there's things out there that you could use. I haven't used them. I'm sure there's more creative people out there than I am that do.
Well, do you want an example of something that's not spirit box related? And this is kind of not a great story, but if you have time for it, I can tell it.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
This is not this. Don't do this at home. I had back in 2019, things weren't great, and I had this desire to get an Ouija board, and I ended up going to Amazon and getting one from Hasbro. And I sit down, I get it, I sit down, put it out there. I don't know why, I just wanted to do it. And I put my hand on the planchette and I asked for any sort of communication and I got nothing. And I didn't expect to get anything. And then the next day I get a phone call and the phone number is area code 952, which is the area that, we live in. So 952-666 and then 4 other numbers. And so I was like, I'm not answering this. This is freaky. And so I decided that I was going to, not answer it. And then there's a voicemail. And I want to play that for you all real fast. And like I said, this is a voicemail from that phone number. So have a listen. And I think you have to accept it in.
Oh, yep. Let me put this in.
How dare you?
Is that all of it?
Is that not enough?
No,
What impresses
no,
you?
that is that.
I can't believe you. I mean, you saved it. I think I would have thrown my phone
That
across the
terrified me.
room.
Let's listen to that again. That's
How dare you?
I just got chills.
that's some creepy shit, dude.
I want you to play it one more time, but let me just say quickly, how dare you is very clear. The other part is either, in my mind, let me out of here, or let me out of here, or, oh God, why can't I think of
How dare you let me out again?
That's
Again,
what I thought.
That's the other two. And you can hear it that there's 2 voices at the end.
Yep. All right, here we go.
How dare you?
Now,
I think we need to do another prayer protection real quick.
Yeah. Mary.
Now, also, what do you do as an investigator when you get that? I called the number.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. The phone number doesn't exist.
Okay, so if we're going to get into spooky stories about ITC and different forms of communication, I have one that ties into this one sort of. So this I'm going to try.
Sorry, that's funny.
What's that?
Tammy, sage the video.
Yeah, sage the video.
I know. I'm over here like praying.
Yeah. So, one of my first paranormal encounters when I first started getting into, being on a team was we went to a place in Toledo called the Collingwood Arts Center for a paranormal convention. That was my day 2 of being part of this team. And so I was very, very new, fresh, green, whatever you want to call it. And a friend of mine who was on that team, we ended up investigating in the basement. And this place has very dark stories, very bad things. We went down there because a table got thrown on 2 investigators that are friends of ours. So that's why we went down there to, kind of investigate around a little bit. Well, it ended up, we were down there about a half an hour, and towards the end of everything we were doing, I saw this female get choked out. You saw 2 bright red fingerprints here and one here, and she went down. This was after she had this big burn on her chest. And like I said, I was very new, because if that happened to me tomorrow, as soon as I see that burn, you're gone. You're out of here. You're not. No. It's not an option. You don't have a choice. No. So that happened the first year. All that next year, I wanted to go back to that place so bad to figure out what was down there and what happened, and who did that to my friend. So I was stoked, ready to go to this convention. And then her and I were talking about, we analyzed all of our audio and all that stuff for the team that we were on. And we were talking about stuff like that. that night, and it was like, I don't know, 10 o'clock, and it was like, okay, we'll talk about this tomorrow, see you later. So at about midnight, she called me, and I'm like, well, this is weird. Why is she calling me at midnight? So I answered it, and she's freaking out because something from the Collingwood Arts Center called her, and it was just a bunch of static on the end. Now, had she heard what was on yours, she probably would have, committed herself to a hospital. But so as I'm talking to her, I'm like, maybe they got some auto dial thing because we're signed up to be at this convention, and I'm just coming up with BS that I know isn't true to try and calm her mind or some rational explanation. And as I'm talking to her, my phone rings, and I look at it, and it's a downtown Toledo number, and I'm like, you got to be shit, no way. So I didn't answer it, but I called it back, and sure enough, it was the Collingwood Arts Center. So we both made a pact that we weren't going to go back to that convention that year. I was like, that really, really freaked me out.
Tell her to stop messing with stuff.
She's telling me the show's over.
Oh yeah, the light went out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we could end it on that. Other than, if one thing we don't want to do is cause anybody to have any kind of paranormal issues, because we did this session. So, protect yourself, pray up. We did end it properly. We closed it properly. But if you were to have any kind of issue, reach out to us, and, because we're here to help. That's the main goal of the foundation, is to help people.
And that's what I say at the end of my shows too, is like, feel free to reach out to me for any reason that there's something, and not that this group would do this, but there are people who they let the emotion kind of get to them, and that's something I would definitely ask too, is like, if something does feel off, just ground yourself again, put your feet on the floor, put your hands on your head, just breathe in, breathe out, just ground yourself, and just try to calm yourself a little bit, because that's the thing about this stuff, is sometimes it promotes emotions running high when it just needs to kind of just have a couple moments of calm.
And just tell it whatever to leave. Get out of my house. You don't give it permission to be there. That's very important too, because people will experience something and then they're like, I don't know what to do, and then their reaction will continue to I don't want to say feed, that's not the right word here, but it will allow the activity to progress and carry on. So as long as you stay calm and say, get out, you don't belong here, get out of my space, this is my house, you do not belong here. Own your space.
And that's something, I mean, honestly, we all know that we have to do that frequently in our own houses, because, doing what we do, it spills over sometimes. So, we did a big cleanse this weekend. We had to, we felt we needed to just really cleanse it out, just for, safekeeping. So,
I did too. I don't know, maybe that's because of the new moon, the full moon last night. Full moon, not new moon. Full moon.
Yeah. Yep.
It was also the worm moon. I've never heard of that before. The worm moon.
I haven't heard of that one either. So
yeah, say that 5 times really fast.
Nope.
Makes me think of Warren Moon, who used to be a quarterback for the Vikings back in the 90s.
Didn't he start out with the Oilers?
Yeah, he wasn't.
Jesus, I'm showing my age. No, but we do want to say one more time too. If anybody out there has paranormal issues, whether you're watching and I'm not saying related to tonight, but whether you're watching or watch the replay or whatever, and you really, really need help, please come to the Warren Foundation. I'm gonna put that website up real quick, and fill out our Get Help tab, because and I'm not sitting here saying this in a braggadocious way, but like, you really want to make sure that you're getting solid, good help, because there's so much bad help out there. So, this is a foundation that was set up by Lorraine Warren and Chris McKinnell. What'd they say, in 1984, I believe. It was something. Lorraine wanted to have more of an outreach than what Nesper was doing. So her and Chris started this foundation with a goal of a worldwide outreach, and the whole goal was to help people. That's it. It wasn't to make movies or tell stories or get on the news or anything like that. It was specifically to help people. So go to this website here if you ever have any issues or know of people that have issues, and fill out the Get Help tab, and that would be the quickest way to get help. A lot of people want to send messages to our messenger, when they have stuff, and the first thing that when I see those messages come through, I send them to the website because that's the fastest way to get you to the right part. So I think, do we want to end the show with Greg's voicemail one more time, and then we'll just end it? Stephanie's like, please don't play it again. I don't want to see it again. We won't end it that way, but yeah, that was good stuff. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. And in 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about psychics and mediums. I know it's a pretty popular topic, but I have some questions too. I think one thing we should go over maybe is ethics on that. Because there's a lot of, especially when you're involved in residential cases, you really, really have to make sure that your ethics are solid, when you're involving psychics and mediums. So that'll be one topic, but, we'll get into a lot of other stuff too. So join us in 2 weeks for the Warren Files, and thanks for joining.
Thank you.
This is always that